Hey friends, question for you. Have you been able to move from performance to purpose? We're going to talk about that a little bit more here on the Radical Care for Christians Counselors podcast. But hey, if this is your first time on this podcast, welcome. My name is Bethany Boring. I'm a certified mental health coach and I own Step Out and Thrive Coaching. And so glad that you are here. I work with Christian counselors, mental health professionals, pastoral care leaders, basically anybody who feels called by God to pour out into the lives of other people. But sometimes in our pouring out, there are moments where we feel isolated, doing it all by ourselves and overwhelmed with so many burdens and so many meetings, right? With one-on-one people. So I created Step Out and Thrive and tip groups where counselors and mental health professionals and pastoral care leaders and those who are really pouring out can have a group where they feel seen and soothed and secure, but then also be able to work on their stories and work on this really deep process and have deep transformational impact with that small group. But we don't just stop there. We allow you to work on these skills and actually have a small group of your own so that you feel supported and seen and secure in a safe place, even while you do the ministry that God has called you to do. And we don't stop there. We also give you an opportunity to launch your own groups, whatever that may look like, whether it's for your staff, whether it's for your missions, whether it's for your ministry, whether it's for counseling. Because when we can really do small groups right with the right people and the right clients, it can make a transformational impact and take the load off of you. So, welcome to Step Out and Thrive. Welcome to the podcast. We're so glad that you're here. And like I said, today we are talking about moving from performance to purpose. And the last couple weeks, I've been sharing about lessons that I should say I'm learning. Some I think I've learned, but a lot of these lessons I feel like I'm still learning because they may look different, right? We kind of get those lessons at an early level, but then it can change as we grow on. Like, for instance, trust as a little kid can be like trusting your parent to give you a Cheerio, right? Trusting as an adult could be stepping out of a job and trusting God to provide because he's leading you. That's a totally different level, okay? So just learning as we're going here. And so today, again, we're talking about moving from what it's going to look like to perform. Can we admit that it is hard no matter what area you're serving in, no matter how you're pouring out? We want to appear professional, right? We struggle with that. I think a lot of us do, because especially if we're public speakers, especially if we're doing podcasts, if we're really putting ourselves out there, we want people to see that we've got our act together. Who doesn't? However, purpose trumps performance every single day. Let me give an example, and this is where God really started working with me on this because of an opportunity that I had a couple years ago. And I'm going to change some of this because it does involve some organizations, and we're just going to change some of this to make this fit. But just to know that this was a moment of major pivoting in my life. I just started Toastmasters, which was amazing. And because I did Toastmasters International, I really learned that I had a passion for speaking. Like, I already knew that I enjoyed public speaking, but I didn't know that I was actually like good at it. Because I walked into Toastmasters in that very first meeting, they're just like amazed. And if you don't know what Toastmasters is, it's an amazing international group. There's probably one right in your city, or a couple actually in your city, where you can learn with other people how to do public speaking well, and you get to do speaking. You get to practice even table topics, which is like improvisation, speaking on the spot. It really does help you if you're struggling in that area. So, long story short, I had an amazing friend who was who actually was blind, and he told me about Toastmasters. She's like, Bethany, because of your journey, because of what you're walking through, you have a story. And this is before all of my current vision and hearing stuff. This was way before all of that. And he's like, you really should check out Toastmasters. I will pay for the first 6 months. Just get going. And that's where I feel like you need to check out. So I did. So I checked it out. It was amazing. And because of that, people started mentioning my name once in a while and paid speaking opportunities. And it was really amazing because as a speaker, and what I'm learning now is as I'm walking this out, It's not always easy to get paid speaking opportunities. People will love to, like, pass the offering plate around or speak for free, and you can give us your business card. Those are great opportunities too, but it can be challenging to get paid. But back then, I was actually getting paid speaking opportunities without even asking for it. And they weren't huge, but they were like, hey, I get to $50 or $100 to come speak. Cool. So I was like, let's go. And so I was having some of these opportunities, and then out of the blue, this one opportunity hit. And I'm not going to say the name, but it was a very amazing opportunity. And it was to share some of my story, which I love to do, and talk about how people can share their stories and what impact our story really does have on how we present ourselves and how we walk forward in our life, and basically the impact the story on even the selling process, but also in business. And so I was all over that. And this is years ago before I, kind of got where I am now. And so I was just amazed at this opportunity. And I'm talking back then, this would have got us through probably a year, at least a year worth financially. So this was a huge, huge opportunity. And so I was excited. And I remember meeting with the event organizers, and they sat me down because I was going to be the keynote speaker of this event. And I was like, so excited, so excited, right? And so we started talking, and I got there, and they said, Bethany, we are so excited to have you. And this is what we want you to talk about. This is what these points. And I was fine with it. We went back and forth. And then they said, oh, yeah, by the way, we don't want you to use any scripture, and we don't want you to mention God. And I stopped. I was like, how do I share my story without any scripture, without mentioning God? I'm like, so can we use another name for God, like Abba or Jesus or Holy Spirit? Like, can we talk about the Trinity? And they're like, no reference. We don't want to start division. Okay. And so I told them, because I think they could read my face. And they said, why don't you just take some time and think about it? But we really do believe that you're the right speaker for us. And, we may be able to make some negotiation, but on this point, we're not willing to negotiate. So that might be a deal breaker, and we understand if it is. So everything in me, I mean, this could have, pivoted me to other areas with speaking. And so I really sat about it. I got quiet with God about it. And it was very obvious that he was like, no, you know that you're supposed to talk about me. This is not that. Now, if he would have said, you got the book of Ruth, for instance, that doesn't mention God in there at all. And it's amazing, amazing book, right? However, however, these are the moments that changed me when I got and I felt clear, and I had peace about it, where God told me, this is not the opportunity for you. This is not where you're supposed to go. And I don't want you to be dismissive about it, but I do want you to walk back into that room and tell them that you aren't going to do it. Keep in mind, this was going to pay for an entire year. A year. This was going to change everything financially for me and our family. And I was about to turn it down. And I had peace about it. So I remember walking into the room that day, and just honestly, the peace was there, but I felt like I wanted to hurl. Honestly, I was like, I asked God, I remember asking God, I'm like, can I just write a letter? Can I send an email? Like, do we have to actually do this in person? Yeah, I want you to do it in person. I'm like, okay. And so public speaking at its best, right? And so I walked in there, and we ended up having a meeting. And I'll be honest with you, I stumbled majorly on my worst that day because I was struggling to do this nicely and, have them not be mad at me, right? I was very concerned about, how I looked. And then halfway through the conversation, and it was very obvious that I was not going to get the opportunity. And he looked at me, and one of the gentlemen was like, you know, this could be a huge opportunity. We want to come alongside of you because we really do believe in your speaking. And we want this to be, a changing point for you. Why aren't you taking us up on it, kind of thing? And I remember sitting back in my chair, just feeling like the whole entire room was coming in on me. And I just asked God, I'm like, God, I need you to give me the words because I don't have anything right now. And I just remember looking up, making eye contact with everybody in the room, and saying, I have to do what God has told me to do. That means more to me than money. That means more to me than any kind of stage or any kind of place. It just, I have to do what God's telling me to do. And I don't expect you to understand that, but that's just where I'm at. And I'm sure God will bring me the right opportunities in the future. And they didn't understand it. And I left that room that day. And I wish I could say, and a week later, I got the opportunity that changed my life. The truth is, no. And I actually walked away from public speaking for a while because of my vision and hearing struggles, because I had trouble staying on stage. I didn't like not being able to see the audience. I stumbled over my words a lot of times. I didn't feel like it was the place I was supposed to be. And at that time, when all this started happening, I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. God didn't give me that because, he knew what was going to happen. And that's not the truth. Because I've now learned that God has given me a different stage now, a virtual stage, but also stages in person where I can talk about how hard life can be and being able to find beauty in the middle of the craziness, in the middle of the uncertainty. And I get to talk about God, and I get to have people listen to God from stage and in small groups. I mean, nothing compares to that moment when I have people come up to me afterwards or even in the group and go, God has never spoken to me like that before. At least I couldn't hear him. But Bethany, I got to hear God. And I'm like, yes, yes, that is what it was about. That fires me up. So, what all does this mean to you? When you're talking about performance and you're talking about purpose. I have a question, friends. Do you know what your purpose is behind what you're trying to put yourself out there to do? Because here's the thing, if you're looking for that quote, right big opportunity, it's going to come. Sometimes you don't even have to look for it. It's going to come. But the thing is, if you haven't worked out and really wrestled with performance, what you really want to look like in front of people versus purpose, what you really stand for and believe that God's doing, you can make the wrong decision. You can sacrifice purpose to look really good in front of people, but you won't really be excited and filled up for what you're doing. Because once those people go away, and they will, you'll be left going, what am I doing here? And you'll lose a lot more in this purpose. You'll probably lose your identity in the middle of it as well. Whereas if you come in with purpose, you may not have the crowds, you may not have the money that you thought you were going to have. It may look completely different, but money can go, people can go. But God, He stays. He stays and He gives us our purpose and He gives us our identity and He gives us why we are doing what we're doing. So, curious questions for the day for you. Questions that I had to ask too is, do I know what my purpose is? And that's a loaded question, by the way. So I want you to do something different. Instead of going, what's my purpose? I don't know what my purpose is. Go, I want you to be still and just hold up in your hands. And you can do this right now, or you can do it later. And go, God, I know that you're a safe place. I know that you love me. When you're looking at me, can you tell me what you see? And just listen. And know that his voice is always gentle and kind. And if you're hearing any other voice, not him. And maybe if you're struggling with this, you need to find somebody that can help you with this listening exercise. Because here's the thing, when we try to figure it out, it gets us into a place of disconnection instead of connection. The healthiest place we could be is going, I can't figure it out. God, I need you. I need to hear your voice. I'm still going to take steps forward in a way that I feel like you're leading me, but I need you. I need you to talk to me and I need you to tell me who I am. And know what your purpose is. Have people around you reminding you what your purpose is and reminding you that you can fall apart and you will still have a purpose. That purpose will not change. And know that you have people and God that are around you that love you no matter what. I hope this is encouraging to you. That's part of the reason we do groups like we do, because we want to create environments where you can have purpose and you have people that believe in you and believe in God, and a place where you can feel safe and seen and secure, because some people have never experienced that. Man, I love to watch people experience that for the first time. So maybe you're one of those people. And if it is, I would love to invite you to just begin and try to check out a check-in Thursday, which is a very easy twice a month group. You get to attend your first one for free, and then it's only $25 a month after that. It's a great opportunity for you to connect with other people and get to know a little bit more about Step Out and Thrive, and maybe even discover what your purpose is and what people see and who God has created you to be. We love to have you part. If you would like any kind of resources, or if you'd like to connect, please go to BethanyBoring.com. We got the free community. You're welcome to you anytime, where you can connect and get to know a little bit more about us and get access to all the podcast episodes. So, with that being said, you have a purpose, my friends. And I'm so glad that you are here. As always, dare to do more than just survive. Step out and thrive. See you guys next week. Bye.